Welcome back to the third review of Summer in Australia, where we will be taking a look at one-off comic book character movies. Today's review has another beloved character, however, he is not as well known as a Marvel heavy hitter or a DC heavy hitter. No, this character was made infamous by this movie, or rather a review of it, by the Nostalgia Critic. Now, I am not a Judge Dredd comic book fan. I have been meaning to read them, however, I just never got a chance to. However, for me, this film has always been a guilty pleasure when I was a kid. I really enjoyed it. The movie stars Sylvester Stallone, and based on that name alone, you know that this will have at least decent production value, as he is a really big name star. But with that comes ego. So, let's get this out of the way, shall we? Sylvester Stallone taking off the helmet was dumb. Now that that's out of the way, let's dive into Judge Dredd and see if this movie upheld the lore by being a good adaptation, or if it betrayed the lore and was another disposable comic book film. So after a pretty awesome theme with a ton of comics displayed, we get James L. Jones narrating the opening title crawl.
Law as we know it collapsed.
Well, that's what happens when you vote for a politician.
From the decay rose a new order.
Oh no. This movie is a fortune teller. It knew the plots for Star Wars Episode 7 would be. Dear God!
A society ruled by a new elite force.
So, essentially, shit got so terrible that when society was brought back, they created the judges to combat crime. We get introduced to one of our supporting characters, Fergie, played by...
Rob Schneider is a stapler.
Ugh. Okay, look. I liked him as a kid, and I don't think he's terrible. But I mean, he isn't good either. He's meh in my eyes. I liked him as a kid, like I said, but I haven't watched him in many years, so this will be an interesting watch. We travel through the city, and it is quite nice. This film really shows off its production value, and it looks great. Some shots still hold up. We see how much of a shithole this city really is, though.
Better than prison.
Yeah, I bet, Schneider. Anyway, bad guys shoot up the people below and across as two judges show up on the scene, one of which is a supporting character named Judge Hersheybar. Judge Hershey. And another that just got out of the academy. Yeah, I think you know where this is going. But what's this? A judge is acknowledging their pleas for backup. Who can this be? Well, it's our hero, Judge Dredd, who has an awesome intro to the scene.
I am the law!
Yeah, oh jeez. Look, using the phrase, I am the law is fine, but as a startup, I don't know, I think that's corny even for me. He asked for their surrender, but...
Hey, Dredd! Come and get us! I knew they'd do that.
Did you? I mean, what if they just surrendered? Would you say that you knew that too?
They're firing 20mm caseless Fletcher rounds at 300 meters. The effective lethal range is 200 meters.
Dredd, I think you might be wrong on this, considering a dude just got blasted like a minute ago. They make their way inside, with Dredd being an absolute badass.
This room has been pacified.
I gave them all diapers. The rookie rushes into the next room, but oh no, he gets shot.
2 days to determine.
We also establish the functions of the judge's weapons.
They're booby trapped!
piercing.
Armor piercing.
Double whammy.
Double whammy.
After killing everyone but one last guy, he reads off his offenses.
Willful destruction of property, that's 2 years. Illegal possession of assault weapons, 5 years. Resisting arrest, 20 years.
Wait a minute. What about that dude that just got shot? He's dead, is he not? Doesn't that mean he'd get like life for killing that dude?
Is she safe? Is she alright?
First degree murder of a street judge.
I guess. Life.
Death.
Okay, this would have been a great scene had Judge Dredd just killed him. Like, I'll edit a bit to show you how this scene could have really been good.
First degree murder of a street judge.
I guess. Life.
Death. Court's adjourned.
We see that a news reporter is telling us the total casualties.
19 dead.
What was I supposed to do? Just let him die?
Maybe.
Wouldn't it feel good to have an emotion once in a while, huh?
Emotions. There ought to be a law against.
Yeah, but you're like pissed off half the time. Isn't that an emotion? Dredd pulls Snyder out of a droid and convicts him.
How do you plead?
Not guilty?
I knew you'd say that.
Okay, since it's Snyder, that one I believe.
Should have gone out the window.
40 floors? It would have been suicide.
Maybe, but it's legal.
Okay, that bit made me chuckle, admittedly.
Case closed, take him away.
Don't close the case. You're misjudging me.
Dredd is an absolute hero. He just sent Schneider back to jail. That's amazing. Great going, Dredd. You really upheld the law this time.
Haven't you ever heard of extenuating circumstances?
I've heard it all, Hershey.
I knew you'd say that.
See, even the movie is pointing out how dumb this is.
Meanwhile, at the Legion of Doom.
We are introduced to Judge Fargo, played by Max von Sydow, and Judge Griffin, played by Jürgen Prochnow. Fargo is the nice judge who wants to try and maintain order while keeping the law in their place. Griffin is the not-so-nice judge who wants to change the law to introduce the death penalty to lower the law offenses. I think you know who's going to be the bad guy. And for those who think that's a spoiler, well, do you really care? Dredd meets with Fargo, and we get... Look, I've already said what I wanted to say with it, but I will address it later on, where I think it could have worked. Fargo wants Dredd to teach ethics. This guy. Really? This fucking guy. You want him to teach ethics? Yep, sure, why not? Anyway, we cut to a prison where the warden comes in with this stupid security system.
Identify yourself.
Miller. Warden.
Voice sample recognized. Thank you, Warden. System disarmed.
We also get introduced to Rico, played by Armand Assant. The warden deactivates the shield and activates the guns. Wait, are you fucking serious? You have to deactivate a shield to give the prisoner something. Really? That's fucking dumb. Rico is then given a badge and a face. The little box turns into a gun and he shoots the warden. Wait, hold on. The warden said...
Auto guns only.
Auto guns reactivated, Warden Miller.
So, how the fuck did they not shoot him as he is holding a weapon? Then the warden is killed by the turret because it didn't recognize his voice? But Rico shot his throat. Are you fucking kidding me? This is just so fucking contrived. This shit makes no sense. No sense. Movie, how's that ethics class going? Oh my god. Of course! Of course Dredd turned an ethics class into shooting something. This mad son of a bitch is able to inject shooting into his ethics class. But this scene is just to establish the flare function and a vehicle for the climax, as well as the long walk, where retirement is essentially you go out into the wild, outside the city, and you be a judge on the outside. Hershey then talks to Dredd, and she asks if he has friends, to which he replies he did, and that he judged him. Now, maybe it's just the inflection in his voice, but I like this little moment. Dredd is clearly hurt by his experience, and Diane Lane, who plays Hershey, plays the scene with sincerity. Also, Diane Lane is just freaking beautiful in this movie, like hot damn. Rico makes his way to Mega City 1 to pick up a package left for him.
I must be a judge.
He activates Swole 3PO as Judge Dredd comes in and shoots the reporter and his wife. Dredd and Hershey pull over a smug rich guy who, of course, pleads,
Not guilty.
I knew you'd say that.
"Really? Again?" Dredd then blows up the car as he is arrested for murder. Judge Fargo then meets with Dredd. He asks if he found someone to defend him. He picks Judge Hershey. Well, I can see this going well. The trial begins, and Hershey argues that the video quality is so bad that it can't count. But why not just ask for his alibi? If he was on patrol, his bike or whatever they used to track the judges should prove that he was nowhere near the location. If he wasn't on patrol, he'd most likely be in his quarters. There must be security footage of him at the giant bird thing. It would prove that it would be difficult to get to the victim's home.
It just raises too many questions.
The prosecutor then uses the computer to scan the gun/bullet to confirm that it was Judge Dredd who killed them. But we also have the most iconic moment of this entire movie.
I never broke the law. I am the law.
Judge Griffin then tells Fargo that he can save Dredd's life from the death penalty. Just one thing.
There is a way out, Chief Justice. If you will forgive me. The long walk.
So yeah, Fargo then steps down as Chief Justice as Judge Griffin takes over, and he has the most dramatic scene in the whole film.
The sentence shall be life imprisonment. You will accept the court's decision, Judge Hershey. Let the betrayal of the law be taken from our courts. Let his armor be taken from him, and all his garb of justice. Let him be stricken from our hearts and our memories.
Now, this is where I think we should have seen Dredd's face for the first time. Now, I know fans would still hate it. However, if, and this is a big if, you're gonna do it in this scene where he is stripped down and put in cuffs. Have him be surrounded in shadows before this scene, close-ups on his eyes, his mouth, all that stuff. Use camera techniques to avoid showing his whole face. We don't get to see it until he is fully stripped down and sentenced like a criminal. This would also be a nice parallel with Judge Fargo's long walk scene. Fargo going into the unknown with the brightness beyond the city as Dredd is brought out of the light and is sent to prison. It would have been a nice parallel. And at the end of the movie, we would have had him return to becoming the Judge Dredd we all know. He has the helmet on and he's the same old Judge Dredd with a bit more. I think you still could have made that work. Personally, I wouldn't have had him remove the mask, the helmet, but if you're gonna do it, make sure you have him, have it mean something, to have him stripped of his armor, of his helmet, his iconic helmet. But hey, that's just an idea I thought of on the spot. Hershey then breaks into Dredd's locker as she finds a family picture of him as a baby boy and another picture with Dredd and Rico in the academy together. Griffin then shows up to his office when, what's this? The judge who was clearly evil is actually working with Rico and the roided up K2SO?
I'm shocked.
Can I also say that the fucking animatronics for the robot is awesome. No CG, just practical effects. And it's just lovely to look at. Then we get Rico doing his over-the-top acting.
Forget Dredd! There is no Dredd!
Dude, literally calm down.
I'm fear. You want chaos? I'm the chaos. You want a new beginning? Here.
I am the new beginning!
Bro, I think you need a Snickers.
You're not you when you're hungry. Snickers really satisfies.
We cut over to the ship transporting Dredd, and he is sitting next to...
Brad Schneider is a carrot.
The ship is hit with a rocket launcher as we cut over to Judge Hershey, trying to identify Rico. Now, I know you may think this scene is pointless, but Diane Lane is once again really gorgeous in this scene, so I give it points for that. Dredd and Schneider are captured by this group of cannibals, and the practical effects, the costume design on this dude is great. I really love it. The cannibals are about to take Schneider to be eaten, when Dredd breaks free and saves him. The cops then show up and start blasting like they're in downtown LA. Dredd then starts shooting. Wait, what? Why is it that the handguns only have the identifying grip? Shouldn't all guns have it in the event where their weapons are taken away like that? Dredd missed one as Obi-Wan shows up to cap some fool.
Together again. Together again, sir.
Oh, how lovely and touching. So how long until he gets... Huh, that was slower than I thought it would be. So turns out the one-armed bandit is still alive. However, Dredd is able to fend him off and is able to read him his offenses.
Illegal use of city electricity. How do you plead? I knew you'd say that!
No, you didn't. They've all said not guilty. Dredd, the I am the law is your catchphrase. Don't try and get another catchphrase. Don't stray away from it, man. We even get this weird shot. It looks like the film is fucking stuttering like crazy. Hershey and the young cadet from the trial and Dredd's ethics class is able to detect Dredd's family picture is fucking photoshopped, and it is actually morphed into this even worse looking picture. We cut back to Dredd as Fargo is dying as he gives us our exposition for the film.
Did I ever tell you about Ahsoka Tano? Anakin and I used to double team her at the end of every successful campaign during the Clone Wars, and once in a while we'd even have the entire 500 first run a train over her. Part of official Jedi training, of course.
So it turns out that the judges created a project called Janus, where the best judges had their DNAs taken and put into the machine to create the ultimate judge. Two were created. One, Dredd. The other was Rico. But his DNA was genetically mutated, and so Fargo dies. Dredd and Schneider must head back into the city to find Rico. Rico is then taken to where Project Janus is stored, where he meets this smoking hot scientist as Griffin sends the three of them out to cause chaos and kill judges. Even Hershey, our favorite Judge Chocolate Bar, is almost killed.
Latest casualty report. 96 judges have been assassinated.
Wait, that's it? I mean, that sounds like a lot, but the film establishes that the city has a population of 65 million. So why not do some little recruitment advertisement? I'm sure that you can make up those numbers in like a day or two. Griffin then tries to convince the council that unlocking the files of Janus will allow them to create adult judges. While that's going on, Dredd and Schneider have to break into Mega City 1 through an exhaust furnace.
I'm gonna stay here until I'm caught, or until you apologize!
Ugh, shut up. Please, man, shut up. I mean, some of your jokes are fine, but really, do you need to complain now? They run through the furnace as the fire comes from behind. Aha. They escape, of course, and make their way to the Big Bird building, and Dredd knocks out one of the judges to take his uniform.
Why are you taking off his clothes? We don't have time for this.
Hey, I ain't judging. It's 2024, and you can do whatever you want. All I've got to say is
Gay!
The head judges unlock Janus. However, only after unlocking it, they get cold feet. Fucking really. Rico then kills the council.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
Who says politics is boring?
I mean, I don't know. I think politics now is pretty damn funny. Rico makes his escape as Griffin frames Dredd for the massacre. Dredd and Schneider then escape as they injure 3 innocent judges just doing their job. Dude, you are so fucked after all this is over. This will get you like 3 counts of, I'm assuming, life, so he's definitely not coming away from this clean. They get away on the bike setup from earlier, and we get this pretty fun chase. It hasn't really held up, but for what it is, it does look great. Schneider then kills a judge. 2 of them die while pursuing Dredd, and, well, Dredd, this is just straight up murder. Schneider is about to crash into a building. Yes, let him die, Dredd. This way the council will let you off scot-free. But then he saves Schneider. And then the building explodes. Dredd, how many people died in the accident? Dredd's a fucking mass murderer at this point. I hope you're proud. I really hope you're proud, Dredd. Dredd meets with Hershey as he tells her all he knows about Janus and Rico. We then come to the most stupidest part in this film. And I know, there has been a lot, but bear with me. So, the computer is ready to put in the stored DNA. However, Rico wants to replace the DNA with his own. However, Judge Fargo said that the DNA had been mutated. So, why in the ever-loving fuck does Rico need to replace his goddamn DNA with his own? That's like fucking replacing water with water. Are you fucking retarded? You stupid fucking idiot.
What are you, retarded? So I know you're not retarded. But, what are you, Down syndrome?
Dredd and Hershey have a nice moment. It's small, but I thought it was a cute bit between the two. They are able to deduce that there is a power surge and that when they move the Statue of Liberty, there was also a power surge. So, therefore, there's a connection. Griffin then meets back with Rico, and the hot scientist, she is now evil because of this one bit.
What's your excuse?
Griffin asks what Rico replaced the DNA with, only to discover that he just replaced it with his own. And even Griffin looks shocked at how stupid this plan is.
You're both insane. I have to stop all this.
Really? Walk up to the giant evil robot thing. The robot then rips the dude's arms off, but we don't get to see it because it was edited down. Dredd, Hershey, and Schneider show up to the Janus location as the robot grabs Hershey and shoots Schneider. Clearly the best character in the film.
He looks a lot like you.
What the fuck are you talking about? Are you squinting that bad? Or your eyes just need fucking glasses? Dredd, Rico have a little discussion as to why Dredd judged Rico.
You know, I never understood that. Why did you judge me?
You killed innocent people.
The means to an end.
You started a massacre.
I caused the revolution.
You betrayed the law.
Admittedly, this is a good scene, although I would tone down Rico's shouting. I think the actor plays Rico really well in this scene, as, dare I say, he plays it with sincerity, as it sounds like his voice is cracking in parts. You know, I think he plays it well, but clearly it was over the top instead of a bit toned down. He should have toned down the performance. Hershey is about to get her head ripped off, but that's when Schneider saves the day. He then disables the robot as Hershey and Dr. Sexy Evil Asian fight it out, and Rico asks the clones to be activated. But this is where the cuts of the film happen. Originally, there was a scene where Dredd fights a bunch of clones. However, it was cut. The original rating for the film was an NC-17, which was cut down to an R. And apparently it could have been even worse, as the studio and Stallone wanted to cut it down to a PG-13. Anyway, as Chocolate Bar and Chinese Prostitute fight on, Dredd and Rico duke it out. It's a fun fight with tons of explosions and effects. Rico tries to escape as Dredd holds him back, and they continue their fight. However, Dredd is sent over the edge and is holding on to dear life. Rico then shouts some bad guy shit.
Joseph Dredd, I hereby judge you to the charge of betraying your flesh. Guilty.
The charge of being human when we could have been gods.
Guilty. The sentence is death.
Uh-oh.
No more bullets.
So Dredd uses the flare function as he sends Rico flying.
Court's adjourned.
I believe I can fly.
However, Japanese tentacle specialist shows up to kill Dredd.
That was easy.
Dredd and Hershey head outside, as it turns out the computer broadcasted the Janus files after Griffin died. Then, why was it helping Rico? What about those innocent people? What about the dead judges? This ending is the equivalent to...
Did it, Patrick! We saved the city!
Snyder keeps yapping on as Dredd heads to work.
Nice.
Dredd then rides off to his next patrol. And that was Judge Dredd, a corny, cheesy, over-the-top action film. I fucking love, even if it's stupid as shit. It's like one of my favorite guilty pleasure watches. Now, I do think a lot of its best attributes in the film is the first act of the film. The final act feels a little rushed, and the second act is a bit too long to get going. The movie is the ultimate in 90s action cheese, and I absolutely adore it. Stallone gives a, well, over-the-top Stallone performance. Fun and silly. Diane Lane is great as Hershey. I mean, she has an energy and flair, but she's also quite gorgeous, and she also can kick ass when she's needed. Rob Schneider is, well...
Rob Schneider is da derpty derp da deedly derpy derpy derp.
To me, he wasn't terrible, but his comedy wasn't great either. I can see why people hate him, though. Armand Assante was just over the top as well. He's corny, over the top goodness. Max von Sydow was great. I think most of the cast did a great job with what they were given, admittedly. The production values in this, however, are very strong in this movie, and I really admired it. I think it was beautiful at times. They really went all out with this movie, and you can tell that they at least tried to make this movie a balls-busting, epic 90s action movie. And I would love to see a continuation of this iteration of Dredd. However, not in film form. I would absolutely love to see Taeon make a sequel to the film in a video game form. Sort of like a hybrid between Terminator Resistance and RoboCop Rogue City. Have the Rogue City cop elements, but keep the multiple choices of Terminator Resistance. But yeah, I think Taeon's next project should be this. Because I feel like with a better story, this Judge Dredd era, you could take off and create a trilogy of Dredd games. I really believe that. However, with this movie I'd say it's a 5 out of 10 movie. But as for my beer ranking system, I'd give it a 7 out of 10 beers. Alcohol is strongly recommended. Get some friends, roast the shit out of this movie, and have a great laugh. The next summer review won't be for a while, unfortunately. This is mainly due to an upcoming video game project, so it may come out later than anticipated. So February is probably going to be, I want to say, the next one, but it could come out earlier. It depends. However, the next review will have a popular starlet from the 90s and is one of the first female-centered protagonists in a comic book movie. Thank you all for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, and share, subscribe as well, and it keeps me going. It really does. Please, everyone, take care and have a good one.